Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker, it's good to see you. Listen,
you're a Bitcoin maximalist. You're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but together, I know we can find them.
Hey, everybody. All right, welcome to the Monday show. I think I'm sticking. I think I'm freezing a little. I might have to log myself back in. I am freezing. Look at that. It's like, All right, let's see if I can log myself back in and fix it. I'll be back in a second. Well, that certainly was the most awkward beginning to a show. All right, it's going to be a short Monday show. I look forward to my Wednesday shows a lot because David Goxton's now a regular with me, and we have so much fun. I love doing things with other people. It's fine to talk by myself, but so I'm going to keep this quick, short, and set up some thoughts and ideas. A lot going on. First of all, there's a shooting at a mosque. I think it's in San Diego. I just saw the headline for it. 3 people dead. San Diego mosque. Three adults killed. 2 teenage suspects dead. So here we go. First, it was shooting synagogues. Now we're shooting mosques. We're shooting Christian churches. Like everyone's taking it out on the religious thing because we're in a cultural civil war, and it's underlaid with a religious war as well. Underneath our civil discourse or lack of discourse, underneath our civil divisions is a very clear religious tone. And it's also, and there's a combination. There's a sort of a hatred of Christians from a lot of the American left, a real hatred, especially of fundamentalist Christians, sort of a dismissiveness, Bible huggers, as I think Hillary Clinton called them. An offense at, coaches who want to have a prayer before the game starts. Even a sort of a disgust at players who, and after the game, when the sideline reporter hits them and they're like, I want to give all the glory to God, first of all. Thank you, God, for getting here. You could see them cringing. ESPN, like, no. There's that. Then there's definitely an anti-Semitism going on. That got riled up, it's always been there, but that got riled up, during that. Sorry, I got a weird itch. It's just itch yourself on camera. I think a mosquito bit me. After the Hamas October 7th attack, a weird, a uber resurgence of anti-Semitism just kind of came out of the woodwork, crawled out, the cockroach of religious hatred and intolerance. And with anti-Semitism, it's always been there. It's not new. That came. And then finally now we have the same piece with Islamophobia and a hatred of Islamic people. And it's all connected. And I've got to log back in again because what's not connected for some reason, I don't know why my computer, I don't know why my system's doing this. Hang on, if you're even listening still, I'll be right. Maybe the third time's the charm, maybe not. So this undercurrent to our civil unrest has got a religious component to it. One, an anti-Christian at times from the American left, an anti-Jew or anti-Semitism, also more from the American left. and Islamophobia more from the American right, and from the fringe elements of both. And then a general battle of some level of like a secular atheism, all heated up on a world stage where, we have a war in the Middle East pitting an Islamic republic against a democracy built originally on Christianity and Judeo-Christian values, a pluralistic one, though, that has room for many faiths, and the Jewish state of Israel. So we're seeing it reflected there. We're seeing the tensions in the Middle East. It's just, and then you want to go take on China, which is an anti-religious country, right? And that has its own thing, the communist ethos, which, although it could embrace capitalism, couldn't embrace religion. So underneath this all, we have this, and now we're seeing another ugly example. Like I said, there was this Christian school shooting, there were some Christian church shootings, there's synagogue shootings. Now we have a mosque shooting in San Diego. And it's just such horrible dysfunctional behavior, and people are being radicalized by all the propaganda they're reading and hearing, and the extremism on both sides. There is extremism on both sides, and there's certainly in the commentary side, there is a clear divide. I mean, I watched a CNN report, and I blame the conservative side for doing this too, but I watched an international CNN report of a reporter the other night in Iran, and he's talking to some Iranian press official, and they're looking at that bridge that the Americans bombed, that was the highest bridge in, the Middle East or whatever, and hadn't even been fully opened, and punched holes in it, and they're trying to rebuild it. And the reporter's just sort of gazing and admiring the the horrible viciousness of the American missile attack, and the damage it did, and this and that and that, and sort of almost feeling sorry for the guy, the Iranian guy, who is and kind of asking him softball questions about, why is their commitment to rebuild? And, the guy's trashes America. And the reporter talks about the anti-American slogans everywhere. It's sort of a feeling bad for Iran. I understand that for the people, but kind of a sympathetic approach to the government. I'm like, okay, you want to be fair, be fair. How about you bring up the 40,000 people his government executed, killed in the streets, in their own streets, protesting the government? Like, how about you bring up all their human rights abuses? How about you bring up their state-sponsored terrorism? How about you don't just give them a free pass? Yes, we bombed the crap out of them. Good, bad, ugly, I don't know. We did. We made a statement. The bombing of the bridge was a statement. Clear statement. So to that, Trump has now said they were going to do a big military attack today. They're going to wait 2 or 3 days because negotiations are going great, and Arab countries have asked him to wait 3 days. I don't know if this is true. I feel what I've said is true the whole time. Trump doesn't want to go back in there, and he keeps thinking if he threatens them enough, and I'll agree with Michael Smerconish on CNN, who actually said something he knew people wouldn't like when he said Trump making the comment about bombing Iran into the dark ages was meant for them. It was meant to scare the Iranian leadership into thinking Trump would do it. Just like his comment about not caring about grocery prices on the way to China, politically might not have been the best thing to say, midterms, but you get why he was saying it. Smerconish is right. He was saying it as a message to Iran. Can't be like, yeah, I know these prices are horrible, so we're going to fix that. You can't let China and Iran sort of see that he's kind of going, yeah, I'm worried about this. He's like, no, I don't think about that. I don't think about American prices. I think about Iran not getting a weapon. And everyone in the media jumps on it. See, spoke the quiet part out loud. He doesn't really care about prices in America. Of course he does. He's not going to say that on a trip to China for the whole world to hear and then Iran to go, see, we knew. But they do know. They do know that he's feeling backed against a wall politically, even if he pretends he's not. And I think this is a stall tactic. Like he said, negotiations are going great. I'm so sick of hearing this. I've said this. I've said it to Landy. I've said it to David. David and I will get into this on Wednesday. What deal are they going to get with this regime? And again, I want to be super clear. Ron says they replaced the regime. Everybody knows they didn't replace the regime, including conservatives. Plenty of conservative commentators, analysts, Israel have made it really clear. We degraded the regime. We moved the leadership down, possibly to a more even hardline version, but it's the same exact regime. a little more broken up in pieces, but still there. Revolutionary Guard still calling military shots. The religious, mullahs still mapping out policy, and a weird crossover where they pretend to be unified. Same horrible totalitarian, I'd call it evil, but that's a pejorative moral word. Hostile to the West, hostile to Israel, determined to undermine Western democracy and seed and sow terror wherever they can without regard. And should they get a nuclear weapon, it would be game-changing in the most horrible way. I think they know Trump doesn't want to continue this military battle, and he keeps trying to scare them. And they're not scared. They're only going further. They keep notching up what they'll do. The Strait of Hormuz is actually bigger than we said it was. And it's ours, by the way. And we can charge for it. And we're going to drop some mines in it. And we're going to create total havoc. And you can tell yourselves all you want. You don't care about a quarter of the world's energy not going through there. But we know you do. We know it's hurting prices. We know that's hard on democracies. We know Europe and America are feeling that. And even if in the long term you get around it, we're going to just keep fermenting trouble. Any deal they make is not worth the paper it's written on, and it won't be written on paper, will it? Well, I guess it will, but it won't be worth anything, and they won't honor it. And they'll just stall and then create more havoc. And someone show me I'm wrong. Someone show me, Landy, David Goxstein, anybody out there, show me that the deal we make with this regime would actually be worth it. A regime that we've acknowledged the predecessor people in that regime have never honored a single deal they've made. They've simply lied for 7 years. They've never honored anything. Why would they honor it now? And how would we prove that they honor it? I mean, over time, they wouldn't. If that deal involves releasing money, lifting sanctions, we're done. We're literally doing the thing Obama did. And I'm literally freezing up again. This was the episode that wasn't meant to be. It's a good one. I'll say it all again. I'm sure discussions are underway, but I don't believe that they'll get there. And Trump doesn't want to launch another military strike. And I think that is the only option at this point. What deal could they make? Okay, we will let you into our enriched uranium dust piles down below in Fordo, or however you say it. And we'll let you right in there right away. And we'll open the strait up right away, and we'll stop blocking traffic and disrupting it. And that's the best deal we'd get. They won't step down from their leadership. They won't stop trying to sponsor terror. They won't stop terrorizing their own people. But they could, at a minimum, say, we'll let you get the uranium, and we'll open the strait. And we, in exchange, will do nothing other than not bomb the crap out of them. We won't lift sanctions. That gives them more money. We won't release the billions of dollars in assets that have been blocked. That gives them more money. Just what Obama did. Money to spend on terror and building a nuclear weapon. We certainly won't pay war reparations. We won't remove our troops from the Gulf. No, 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 and no. I don't see the deal. A couple more days. I'm hoping it's before Wednesday. And it sounds bad. I'm rooting for no deal because I won't buy the deal we get. I think a whole lot of the Iranian people are rooting for no deal. They're like, come in and do more. Finally help us bring this regime to its knees. Don't let it just prop itself back up and be even worse to us and get money and resources that it could just rebuild and do what it's already doing. They're already rebuilding the bridge in all proud. We're going to put everything back together. It'll take us a few minutes. Maybe it'll take us 5 years. What? Stopping them for 5 more years isn't the goal. We went in there. Let's stop them. Period. End of story. Mark Furman, the detective from the O.J. Simpson trial, died. 74. I thought he was older. He's the glove guy, remember? Remember O.J. Simpson? Remember, I was in law school when that happened. I was in law school, and the day the verdict was announced, I was in a civil law class in the big class first year. The professor said when the verdict was announced, everyone she'd call class and we could go watch. This is the 90s, so everyone didn't have a cell phone. We just watch it on your phone. So the time came, and word came down that verdict was being announced, and I got up. I was like in the second row. I got up to leave. She was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "You said we could go." And I started to the door, and she looked at the class and was like, nobody else better follow him. And why that story's relevant. Um, but so Furman's the guy who had the glove and said the glove matched and didn't think about the fact that the glove had been in formaldehyde or whatever had shrunken up, and OJ could put it on, it wouldn't fit very well, and they were going to tell him, make it look like it doesn't fit at all, right? And then the famous line, I think it was Johnny Cochran, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And then Furman got, nailed for, being basically a racist, a bunch of racial slurs that were caught on camera and stuff. It was an ignomous, is that the word? Not a famous leaving from this planet. That was his downfall. And finally, odd sidebar story. This is a short episode, Frozen and all. The NBA, the WNBA, this just struck me. It's such an interesting thing. The WNBA is so interesting. And well, there's two pieces here. There's also the transgender story of in a California high school where the trans boy is winning everything. They had a state meet and he won like all three events, first place significantly over the girls. And then they have a weird rule in the system, in the California system now, which is if a girl is beaten by a trans athlete, they will share the podium. Just stop and think about this for a second. Okay, there's nothing wrong with trans boys or biological boys participating in women's sports because they're really women. That's the argument, right? But should they beat a girl, which they do every time, we'll let them share the podium together. Why? I thought they're equal, because they're not equal and they're going to win. And I said this before, show me any sport they don't win. Where was it I saw the other day? It was a soccer team. As part of their training, they play it's a college soccer team, a really good one. They play a men's high school team. And they did it like a week ago and they got their butts kicked. Now, why would they do this? Why would they play the boys' high school team? First of all, a high school team of boys beats a top college program of women. Not a shocker. But why would they do the game? They weren't doing it for publicity. Well, why do they do it? It's obvious. What better way to prepare for your competition that's going to be the same as you than play something better than you as a practice? Play them as a practice. So when you're playing your own league and the women in your league, you're going to be better because you played against people who are better than any of you. It's a whole notion that men aren't better physically in sports compared to them equal to their women counterparts is so crazy. Like you can't find one sport where you take the same level of an athlete, male and female, except maybe that shuffleboard sport, but and the man doesn't win. Even I think like bobsledding because of the weight differential stuff, but I don't know. But almost most competitive team sports for sure, and individual boxing, MIA. What a fight, by the way. Wasn't that crazy, Ronda Rousey? I knew she was going to take her out. I didn't think she'd take Gina Carano out in 10 seconds. I thought she might in a round. That's her thing, right? Taking people out fast. It's crazy to me, though. Neither of them had fought. 10 years for Ronda Rousey, 17 years for Gina Carano, both in their 40s or 40 and 44. It was so interesting how that fight just was done. People didn't even see what? Not even a punch throwing, just a takedown and just a takedown and a submission. And Gina Carano was those two love each other, right? So to some extent, this is all entertainment, right? I mean, they were prepared to fight, but they're also, they're like Gina Carano is, Ronda Rousey's idol. She looked up to her. She got her in the sport. She said, but someone asked her, would she break her arm if she didn't tap out? And she said, I would. I feel bad, and I'd tell her again afterward how great she is. But yes, so obviously she had her arm, and Gina Carano taps out. But she said she felt so cheated. Carano did. She said she'd been training for like a year and a half, 3 a.m., lost like 120 pounds or whatever. She looks so great, so fit. She's like, after all that, waking up 3 in the morning, my family, everybody like just did this for like a year and a half straight. I never got to throw one punch. It's an interesting way to end it, right? Never got to throw one punch. You don't want to work that hard and not at least have a fight. Like, just get a few in there, you know? A couple, one round, punch and kick in a little bit of something. It was just basically martial arts. It was just one martial arts move. Like Gina Carano puts her foot up and Ronda Rousey takes it, puts her on the floor. 5 seconds later, immobilizes her, puts her arm back, has her in submission, and Gina Carano taps out before her arm snaps. That's what you got to do to Iran, Mr. President. You got to put them into a submission. Unfortunately, it's probably going to take a few more punches, not just some martial arts jiu-jitsu. It's going to take some more punches, but they got to be put in submission. You can't just make a deal. Again, deal won't be worth anything, and you know that. And you called Obama's deals and Biden's deals worth nothing. You all called them worth nothing because they were worth nothing. Now suddenly it's not a good deal because Trump made it. Same regime, same bad deals. Except in this case, they're asking for even more. I mean, I can't believe we're going to get to a deal unless Iran just lies and then goes back on it right away. And killing me, though, because I'm terrified what we're going to do is agree to release funds and lift the sanctions. The very thing Obama did that caused this problem, well, kept the problem going 14 years ago, 13 years ago. Anyway, it's a short show for today. It's a sticky show for today. Oh, I never finished my Caitlin Clark story. Sorry, my WNBA story. I got lost in the trans stuff. So Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. So NBC had a doubleheader, and it had Angel Reese of the Dream, Aja Wilson of the Aces, Zia Cook of the Storm, and representing the Fever, Caitlin Clark. No, Raven Johnson. What? The pictures for each, like it's like when you like Monday Night Football, you show the two quarterbacks. Or in some cases, the running back is really the most famous person on the most, influential player. Caitlin Clark is the leading scorer in the WNBA. She's clearly the best player and she in the league, and she has transformed the league. She is the Tom Brady, if you want, of it on the young side, the Patrick Mahomes, whoever you want. And they take Raven Johnson off the bench forward or guard. I think she's a guard, forward guard, and put her on. Why? Because she's black. She's an attractive black woman. Is she as good as, is she the marquee of why you go watch the Fever? Of course not. Caitlin Clark is the best player in the league. And classic form, when they do the game, Raven Johnson, who was in the Billboard picture for NBC, scores 0 points. And Caitlin Clark scores like 25, has like a triple-double header or whatever, like a triple-double. And, this is 2 days after having like a record-breaking performance. Raven Johnson, I'm just looking it up, averages 1 point a game per season. I swear to God, it's because she's black and Caitlin Clark is white. And there's a whole thing in this league still about white and black. If Caitlin Clark was black, she'd be treated totally differently. It's absolutely true. By players, by officials, by the league, everything. It's identity politics. Does it ever end? It's got to end sooner or later. It's got to end sooner or later. I'd have been ashamed if I was Raven Johnson to be like, you can't put me on there. I'm a backup player who scores 1 point a game. Like, people ain't coming to watch me, but the league's like, no, we got to make that look right. It's so sad. It's so dysfunctional too. It just creates more problems. It just creates more bitterness, more racism, more white people mad because they think like, why isn't Caitlin Clark getting the same credit that LeBron James would get? LeBron James wouldn't have gotten it if he was white. Back in the day, yes. Go back in the day to like, you go far enough back to the players like the Knicks players or, and you definitely get it. Bill Russell, for example, yes, it was a different time then. Anyway, I'm freezing again, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for watching. On Wednesday, I will be back unfrozen with David Gockstein, and we'll go deep into the politics. Maybe this time he'll admit, we'll see, that we might be heading for a deal that ain't so good. All right, thanks for watching.
Meet Rob Nelson, talk show host.
Because you got the 70s thing going there. I got someone's underwear.
Robert Kennedy, thanks for taking a minute. Simple question.
Tucker?
It's good to see you. Listen,
If you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you're Bitcoin forever.
I hate this central bank digital currency.
Hey, I don't have all the answers, but